Alright, guys. Well, as you can see, the punching bag is swinging after Alexander was getting some rage out on it.
Maybe. No, like I was getting out enthusiasm because guess what, Better Call Saul fans, the season is up. Episode 13 has been rolled over the screen, and we are here to give our insights with a special live, or not live, but a video episode of The Corner, analyzing the last episode
called Saul Gone.
Saul Gone, yeah. We could start there at the title, actually. And I'm still not used to the camera. It's but that's cool. That's cool.
I think like Saul Gone, it reflects that he at one point in this episode does not want to be Saul Goodman anymore. He just wants to be Jimmy McGill. He's come to terms with who he is, right? And he is ready to face the regrets. The whole episode was about regrets and redemption.
Yeah.
But not redemption for anyone. Redemption for him.
Yeah.
As Saul Goodman.
Yeah. I agree. And this speaks to the title, which is also ambiguous because we have on the one hand the "It's all gone," like we had with what was it? He says at the end of season 4, he says. Saul Good. Yeah, it's all good, man. Yeah, Saul Good, man.
That's where it comes from.
And then you have that same ambiguity here with it's all gone, Saul gone, and that's beautiful as well. But of course, it also means that the Saul persona, as we know him from Breaking Bad, is gone now.
Yeah.
He's locked up and. He still doesn't get rid of it at the end. By the way, spoilers, because if you haven't seen it, this is a spoilers episode.
But we did talk about why he does what he did. Right?
Yeah.
But let's wait till we get there. And I mean, the episode starts with a flashback from Saul and Mike in the desert.
Yeah.
Where he's talking to Mike about this time machine.
Yeah. Which is pretty good. Like the metaphor, the time machine.
Yeah.
We can take that. I mean, this is like that ties together with one of my favorite scenes in the entire episode which is with Walter, where he points out that this episode is about regrets.
Yeah.
And the time machine is a metaphor for that.
And in both these scenes, it was great that. Mike wanted to go back in time. First, he chose the date where his son was killed, right? Because then he would have changed that.
Yeah.
But then he changed it again to go back in time to when he took his first bribe as a as a beat cop.
And that hesitancy there with Mike, that actually shows that Mike is not as thought through as one might think he is when watching the show. He's actually a confused character.
Yeah.
He knows why he does it. He does it for the family, or at least that's what he keeps telling himself. But he doesn't really know what he wants. Like he's unsure about his regrets.
Yeah. 100%.
So. And I'm not even sure that he does it for his family, just like Walter, like working for Gus. That is because he knows that he's the best man to do it. So that's why he wants to do it for him. So it is also like Walter. Mike is just taking that job for Gus for himself because of his ego.
Yeah.
I think.
Well...
But he feeds this logic about doing it for the family but at the end of Breaking Bad, his family gets nothing because the DEA snatches it all.
It's a way of self-justification
of
all the bad shit that you do. I mean, you can run dope all over the world, right, and tell yourself that you're doing it all for the family, right, and not for like the full briefcases of cash that you're receiving at the end of every deal. But yeah, self-justification.
Definitely.
But it was interesting to see, though, that like whenever Saul gets the question like what he would do traveling back in time, it was all about money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He's greedy.
Yeah.
He's a motherfucking greedy
Yeah,
asshole. That's what he is.
Because
he's a lovable asshole because we've seen it from his perspective, and we like him. But seen from the outside, he is an asshole. He's greedy.
To Mike, he said he would go back in time to 1965 and put the money in Berkshire Hathaway and Warren Buffett's company and go back to the present time, be a billionaire, right? And Mike is like, right, like that's it, money, right? And then it's almost the same in the scene with Walter. After an epic performance about showing that Walter is a stone cold scientist with this time travel.
That's the scene I was just talking about. The thing where Walter is saying that he's just talking about regrets. Stop wasting my time with all this time machine nonsense. You're just talking about regrets. Just seeing the world stone coldly in that way. And but then they also talk about it, and then Walter brings up this whole point about grey matter, and of course frames himself or alleviates his guilt from the case by saying that he was artfully maneuvered out of the business by his Elliot and Gretchen and
blaming them, right?
Yeah. And Bryan Cranston, of course, phenomenally plays this as always. But yeah, the character of Walter, as always, just blames other people, not himself. Great scene. Here, also because we get this contrast between the two main characters of both shows.
Yeah.
We have Saul. Or Jimmy on one side and Walt on the other, and we see the differences between them where Walter says, so you were always like this, when he brings up the slip and fall.
Yeah, that was the only thing that changed, right?
And so Jimmy has always been in this kind of wanting more environment. Whereas with Walt, it came with his cancer.
This is what we talked about, like that off recording, that Jimmy has always wanted to be in the game because of his love of the game, making money as a criminal, being a hustler, coming up with new ways to like scheme the system or whatever, right? So it would never have worked for him, even if he were became a partner of Howard in Hamlin McGill, right? Because it wouldn't have been enough for him to just earn a shit ton of cash. It would have to be in his way, in one of his schemes, right? So
that's another thing with Jimmy. He's before I forget it, I wanted to bring this up. He's a megalomaniac.
Yeah.
And that's more fitting to say that he has delusions of grandeur. Delusions of grandeur is apparently a term that just speaks to it's a more divine thing, I think, than just megalomania, which is just a tendency you can have when you want more, when you want more than you have your own statue. So you want to have a castle. You want to be you want to have things that you might not be able to get. That's basically it. So it's more fitting to say that Jimmy and also Walt, for that matter, are megalomaniacs. They want more. They simply want more than they should have or can have.
Absolutely. So at this point, he's still not ready to face his regrets.
Yeah.
But you can still see that he has regrets because like he's taking like a pause in the desert, for instance, blinking his eyes slowly, right? And you know that that he has his regrets, but you just don't want to face them.
Yeah.
And it's the same in the bunker. Then he's also like closing his eyes, like that's me, right? But anyways, then he gets caught on the run in Omaha City.
Yeah, back to the Gene timeline.
Quite fitting, I like this that like he was caught in a garbage dumpster, right?
Yeah.
And then Marie Schrader, who comes in as a surprise visit under this negotiation or hearing or whatever it is, like the sit down.
A great tease as well, because we have, as they walk through the corridor, you see Marie from a certain camera. You see her from his perspective, just as in a glimpse, and already there. My buddy and I, who watched it at the very first time, we were like, "Whoa, that's Marie!" and we were ecstatic, "Fuck, man!" And then when she actually appeared in the scene, we were even more ecstatic. So that was really interesting to experience.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So she's telling him that they told me that they found you in a garbage dumpster. That's quite fitting for you. Where she's meaning that he is a dirty ass criminal, right?
Just insulting him straight out the gate by saying, it makes sense that you would be found in a garbage dumpster.
And Saul wastes no time putting on the performance. Has like a small pause, just like when you say like it's showtime, except he doesn't say it there, right?
Yeah.
Because he's so smug and arrogant. Yeah. And then comes up with his story about Mayhew, which is Walter White, and how he was faring for his life, and that's how we got it.
That was my introduction to Walter White, getting the sympathy from that one juror.
Yeah.
Because that's all he needs.
Then the guy says, "You think you can convince a whole jury of that?" And then he just says, "One.
Yeah.
I only need one."
Yeah. Wow, what a finale! I love the finale because there's. And I have said this on multiple occasions, and if any of you viewers there are following the channel, you can go back and watch one of the very first Better Call Saul episodes we made, where I'm saying that Jimmy McGill's end will be in a courtroom.
Yeah.
He will be in a courtroom, and I've said this multiple occasions, because that's his element.
Yeah.
And to end this show in a different way would, in my opinion, not be possible, because the law is his theme.
Yeah.
So it's natural that he would end his show, or that the show would end with him in a courtroom, defending himself. Now I don't know if I said that he would defend himself, but that makes sense anyway. It makes sense, which he does. But of course he has Bill, and that's epic too, that they bring the character. I don't know what his name is in real life.
And they bring in Bill Oakley, but
Bill Oakley.
But he's more like he's just to be there, right? So that Saul won't look like some complete insane man like sitting there ranting about himself, right? But by having a respectable name from Albuquerque there, it makes it seem more professional from his side of things. And it's also part of like painting that picture of professionalism, because if it was only
Saul himself.
If it was only Saul himself, for instance, in that negotiation room, I think they would be less likely to go with on his terms.
Yeah, definitely. Like it appears more professional to have two lawyers standing there than just himself.
Yeah.
Even though it would have been epic to also see like just Saul against the whole justice system. But I think it would have been too much, to be honest. It would have been not feasible, not realistic.
And then comes like the climax, because I believe it's when he hears about that Kim has come clean about what happened to Howard.
Oh,
and
yeah,
gone
right,
to the widow.
Yeah, that was already in a previous episode.
And made like this statement and stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's only then that he seems to like change his story, like, because like then he comes up with this bull BS just to get Kim to Albuquerque courthouse.
Yeah.
And he
that's a brilliant move, by the way. I didn't quite catch that, especially that scene where he is talking in front of the prosecutor on the plane.
They have cut something out from it.
Yeah.
But as I understood it, he had changed it. He had changed his story from that, like, it was all Kim, right? And that and that Kim had like gotten Lalo or whatever to shoot Howard and something crazy like this, right? Which is why he immediately says it's all BS in the Albuquerque courtroom, and it was only to get her there.
Should we take a little bit more wild turkey? I know we already had a lot yesterday, but like I'm feeling like just a little bit more, a little bit more. We could also go single malt.
Yeah, let's go single malt.
Because we do have one that I bought just today. It's I can show it for the camera. The microphone is there, but I'm just gonna go quickly over to the camera and show the Glenlivet 12-year-old. So that's what we will be having now. And not too much, because I don't want to be need to be up early tomorrow. If this was on the Joe Rogan show, I would say I got to be out of here in 3 hours. Gotta catch a plane to LAX. but nah, man.
So yeah, man, and then and then he gets to talk, right? I was face palming myself at the moment, because I felt like, holy shit, don't say anything to this judge.
Yeah.
Right, don't say anything to fuck up whatever good deals that you have just gotten, since he had negotiated it down from 196 years plus life down to 7 years.
Yeah, wow, man. I mean, like, and it looked like he was actually going to get away with it. Yeah. That's the scary part. Yeah. But also kind of makes sense seeing it as it is. Jimmy, it is. He is like a good lawyer. Yeah. But he just treats, as Chuck says, and I love that they brought up Chuck as well. Yeah. In that improvised or semi-improvised speech during the courthouse. Because it shows that he's finally redeeming himself. Yeah. Finally, like finding out the truth that he has been so blinded by all along.
This scene was so epic, because if you think about it, then in this flashback, then Chuck comes out from the shadows into the light, right? And says, if you don't like the path you're heading, Jimmy, there's no shame in changing your path. And then he's like laughing about this.
That's brilliant.
It's saying that like he had never done that and so on, right? So he wouldn't change the path, and then excuses himself with that he needs to go because he has a client that had waved his dick in front of the Hobby Lobby. And then Chuck is like, all right, and he vanishes back into the dark. With the book H.G. Wells' Time Machine. Yeah. I thought that was like brilliant that he comes out from the dark, right, in the light, and says this, and then in again, like, okay.
And that book H.G. Wells is actually what we see in the very first episode, the pilot, the first episode of season 6, where we see his mansion. There is a copy of H.G. Wells on his one of his tables.
Wow, really?
That is really interesting. What is that?
Just Microsoft
some virus protection bullshit. Yeah. So that's really interesting. that we get that reference to H.G. Wells. I'm sure my buddy there, Mathis, has has read that. He's a philosophy nerd.
Man, that's crazy.
In the good sense, that's a massive compliment.
So back to like the courtroom. So then he goes to the judge, and he just confesses to everything. That Walter White could never have made it without him. He was a key element to this like huge meth production.
Also oversells himself just a little bit, even though he might be right. I mean, like Walter was not good at anything he did. He was just lucky.
And then comes the final sentence. 86 years in a Supermax prison, ADX Montrose in the Rocky Mountains.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh yeah, by the way, that thing that I just said, that Walter was lucky all the time with everything he did, that to me is what makes the show so great, because it makes it kind of relatable, because if I was in that situation, that is exactly how I would react, like Walter. I wouldn't be some hotshot criminal, like being able to just gun somebody down without batting an eye. Like, I would be legitimately scared if I had to do these things. Crap in my pants. So that to me is what makes it relatable as well. That you have a guy who's coming from nothing, or like not from nothing, but who's coming from nothing within the criminal sense. He has no experience of crime at all. So he has to learn everything from the ground up in the criminal world.
This is like one of the disappointments that I was talking about, like that I had like thought that Gene, Tuckwitch, or Saul would be on the run a little bit longer.
Yeah, exactly.
6 months, and
because it's the same thing with Gene or with Saul.
Because like when you're like seeing him like listening to because you're seeing him listening to the police scanners, right? Driving around, making sure that he isn't followed. And like checking on his diamonds, checking on his fake passports, right? Yet he doesn't seem to have a clear plan of what to do if push comes to shove, right?
No.
Because we see that he doesn't have a spare vehicle ready for him somewhere under a different plates or whatever, right? Nothing.
Because he's not a hardened criminal. No. He's not used to that environment. All he did when he was Slippin' Jimmy was slip and falls. Yeah. And that's just like harmless pranks compared to the environment that he's getting into with the Salamanca cartel and like people that are just as bad, like Gus. Like, these are hardened criminals, but Jimmy is just a prankster at the end of the day. That until, of course, but that's again the thing is he gets a lot of 8 counts of money laundering for 20 years each, and that, of course, is a serious crime. But that's also because that is an area that he has expertise in. That is the law, and he uses his slip and fall shady mentality to combined with his lawyer talent to exploit that criminal side of him. Yeah. But anything more than that, like actually taking a gun and shooting someone, that real crime, that is something that he can't do. And I think who says that there's crime and there's crime? Yeah. In Breaking Bad, there's someone who says that.
Well, Mike says at one point that there is that he has seen good criminals, bad criminals, but he has also seen honorable criminals, right?
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Yeah, honorable criminals, bad criminals, but he's also said seen bad honorable people.
Yeah, you can be a bad. You could be a bad cop, and you can be an honorable thief. Yeah. Like you can be on either side of the law, and still make the wrong decision. But no, I was thinking about Gale. It is Gale that says when Walter asks him, "Why are you in this business? We don't strike each other as criminals," and they don't. They're both not like hardened criminals. And then Gale says, "Well, I suppose there's crime, and there's crime.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's that difference.
Yeah.
Like there's like." The intellectual crime that only comes because you're like sitting in a safe lab, safe environment, and you don't have to deal with the harshness of reality out there. And then there's just the hardened criminals that have fucking suffered the fucking brutality, and that's the real crime, in my opinion.
It is. Something just occurred to me, like in this scene where Chuck comes out from the dark and says like there's no shame in like changing your path, right? It like really reminds me of the ending of a John Grisham book called Ford County, where there's like short stories. In one of these short stories, there is a corrupt lawyer who's been waiting his whole life to be able to like abandon his family, abandon his kids, and just get like a whole lot of money and just leave, right? So he leaves with like $500,000 to Belize, right?
To Belize.
Yeah, because Belize doesn't have like extradition to the US, at least not at this point.
That's also a theme for
this show.
Yeah. Send him to Belize.
They're at this. He's there at this like hotel, pretty much just burning this money up because again, this character isn't a hardened criminal. He doesn't know what the hell to do with the money or something, right?
Yeah.
So it just pictures like a really depressing things, right?
Yeah.
And then meeting like another fugitive at the hotel bar, asking like what he's done, right? He doesn't want to tell, and then this criminal says, "Well, it doesn't matter. This is the end of the road, anyways, my friend."
Yeah.
Like this is it.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that's just
because you can't go back because then there's prison.
Yeah.
You can't leave the police either because then you're going to come to a country that might have extradition to the US.
Yeah.
So
you're doomed if you do. You're doomed if you don't.
Yeah.
In a way, unless you have Ed.
Right.
Need a Hoover Max Extract Pressure Poe Model 60.
Yeah.
Can you help me with that?
Very good point with this, with like being a hardened criminal and not so.
Yeah.
Because I really thought that he had like a plan when we had seen the fake passports, but he didn't.
Yeah.
Because he was reliant on Ed.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to the episode there.
Yeah. There was so how far are we? Like we've covered the Mike scene in the beginning, and then how he gets arrested.
We are in the courtroom where he's confessing to everything, right? Claiming that he's the big boss almost about this stuff.
Yeah, that's the final courtroom scene where he confesses everything and repents. And redeems himself.
I like Kim's expression in the courtroom is just showing that I'm not surprised.
Yeah, exactly. But what I love about the scene is that how spontaneous it is.
Yeah.
Because it's like he makes it up on the spot, and that's all. Like the general theme with these two shows is both Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul is that things just sometimes happen that you don't plan for. Like things is chaos.
Yeah,
that's a theme that you could put to this show, like or asymmetry. We see it in the intro, in the very intro of this of Better Call Saul, where we have the do 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 do.
Yeah.
And then it hard cuts the last tune of that intro song, and that shows this asymmetry that. Well, sometimes shit just happens that you can't control. It's out of your control.
I wanted to talk like why he did it, why he confessed, right? It's like this redemption thing and like getting a clean conscience and stuff, right? And that's worth taking an 86-year sentence in prison. Yeah. But also, if he only had done those 7 years, right, he would still do the time. and he would start from scratch.
Yeah,
When coming out at age
exactly.
at almost like age 60,
Yeah.
right, trying to like build up his reputation again
And being broke.
and being broke,
Because
right?
all of his money has been seized.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
the money is money laundered. Ironically, and again, this is a testament to the asymmetry of the show and of the world in general. The irony of the tragic world is that the very crime that he was sentenced for, the money laundering, 8 counts of money laundering, which he has now served in 7 years for good behavior, has been taken away from him.
Yeah.
From the DEA. So that's another karmic justice there. That you spend so many years laundering money and then it gets taken away from you.
Yeah. So he got nothing anyway. So I could like see the point, like why bother, like starting from scratch, almost 60 years old, broke. Then and just say like fuck it, then I'll just go to prison. I'll die there.
Yeah. Yeah, I could, but I liked the ending because it. Like I said in the couple
The
of
bus
the previous,
scene.
yeah, the bus scene was definitely good.
Yeah.
But what I said in the previous episodes as well is that, like there was 2 ways this show was going to end. Either with him dead, which would have been a little bad because he didn't have cancer, and I don't think he deserved to die either. Like, or he would have been in prison.
Yeah.
That's the 2 endings. And we got one of them, so that's good. But what I didn't see coming was that he actually worked in the bakery.
Yeah.
Just like he did in Omaha, Nebraska. And he actually starts to run his own, or starts to be respected in prison due to his name, Saul Goodman, which is following him, which I started to say in the beginning of this podcast, that he can't shake his name. And that's what the prison bus scene actually represents, where they start chanting Better Call Saul.
Call
Saul.
Saul.
Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
With deep, misogynistic voices. Because, like, man, that black guy behind him has the deepest voice I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Seriously. Like, like, wow.
Hey, you soul.
I can't even get down there.
No.
It's like,
so yeah, then like epic ending of the show, and then of course like the last scenes here where he is seen working in the bakery, and he has a visitor, and it's Kim Wexler, and it's like perfectly mimicking the scene from the very first episode Uno of Better Call Saul, where they're also sharing a cigarette in the parking garage of Hamlin and Gill.
It's the same angles they've used largely, and
he's saying
and
like
the same position,
same
the
music
actors
too,
in.
like so.
Yeah. Oh yeah, same music too, same soundtrack.
And the Kim sounding impressed, saying like gotten up to 7 years.
Yeah.
And then Jimmy saying nothing, and then she says 86 years.
Yeah.
And he just replies again 86 years.
Yeah.
And then being funny, saying like, but who knows, with good behavior.
Yeah, like a tiny sliver of hope, but still, like, I mean, no, it's not that. I take that back. It's not hope. It is just a joke.
It's just a joke.
It's just a joke because he knows he's never getting out. Like, this is gonna be the rest of his life, and like we talked about, what would happen if they decided, Kim spin-off, Kim Wexler spin-off. But I don't know what story there is to tell with her anymore. She would be like young enough or old enough to play an older version of her, but I don't know what themes you would take up there.
Well, then there's the theme that like Howard Hamlin's ex-wife there, or wife would come after her in a civil suit. But
will she really do that? I honestly don't. Like, I think they've settled it already with that contract.
Bill said that she was shopping for a lawyer. But
Yeah, maybe.
who knows,
Maybe.
man? Who knows?
Could
Anyways, back to the scene. Like then, it is
Yeah.
the most epic shot of the scene of the whole episode. I think is that when you see Kim walking out of the prison,
be. Yeah.
and they're standing on like opposite sides of the fences, right? With with like the distance between the fence and the next fence, right, to the prison.
Yeah.
And they're looking at each other in on this like 5 meter distance, fence to fence, right?
Yeah.
And you can just so clearly see like two people, two different paths.
Yeah.
One has always been heading here. One has always been heading to this point.
And for a certain period, and that's the great thing. Like, yeah, we have that the contrast between them, but for a certain period during season 5 and partly season 4 as well, and then of course the first half of season 6, Jimmy was dragging Kim along, trying to get her to his path, but then it all came crashing down because of Lalo Salamanca, the bastard. Or maybe that was lucky for Kim, actually.
I thought that we would have like seen
luck and unluck,
like, for her sake.
Because in a way, like that incident made her stop following him. Right? Do you agree?
I'm like thinking like the incident that was like hardest was like probably the one where he is like saying like, no, it has to be her. She needs to go to Gustavo's house and kill him.
Yeah.
Right, where he's practically pushing her to go to and do this deed, right? To the most dirty deed you can do, almost. Right? Kill another human.
But of course, that is just under the pretext, or not just under the pretext, because he genuinely loves her. Yeah. So it is to protect her from being with Lalo.
Yeah.
But still, like if they had done the prank on Howard, who's to say how far Kim would have followed Jimmy?
Yeah.
Or followed Saul?
No way to tell, right?
No, exactly. So maybe it was actually luck and unluck that Lalo killed Howard, and thus made Kim realize that she had to stop it.
Yeah.
She had to stop this contact, and thus walk on her own path.
Yeah.
So yeah, like even though it of course never seemed to her like that in the moment.
Yeah.
Of course, in that moment she was shattered.
So yeah. So then in the end here you have Kim walking away, and you have Saul watching, and his face slowly, like just fading out of the picture as the camera rounds the wall or the corner of the wall, and then that's it.
I like that, and I also like that we had the panoramic view of the prison.
Yeah.
Right before that scene where we have them standing next to each other, and then Kim walking away and him standing with the double guns. But I like the fact that we end the show like in a wall.
Yeah.
Because that shows that, well, this is not a grand ending.
No.
This is not like we don't zoom out from something. No, there's just a wall and then that's it. Like that makes it realistic for me. But I also like that we have the panoramic view.
Absolutely. Like I keep like thinking that like even if he had come out of prison, wouldn't he have just landed there again, because he wouldn't have been able to get out of the game anyways.
No, definitely not, because he's still afraid of the Salamancas. He doesn't know that they're dead.
No.
And that would still nag at him. So maybe this really was the best ending for him, because in prison at least he's respected by some of the people that know him, or maybe he even put away. And as we see when he's in the bakery and when he leaves, like a guy comes up to him and says, "Got your soul?"
Yeah.
Got your soul? Fist bumps him.
Yeah.
That shows that he will be all right in prison, but he will be in prison. He will be serving the time for his crimes.
Yeah.
And so I really don't think that he could have had that we could have gotten a better ending to this brilliant masterpiece of a show, Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould. And I can say that on YouTube now, on video, This is the best show that was ever made.
Great show. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10, absolutely flat down.
Do you think it was better than Breaking Bad?
Yeah, it's equally good.
Equally
Good. I mean, like, I don't like to compare the two because to me, and I've also said this written multiple times about this on the forums, that Better Call Saul is always is to be seen as a spin-off. It's always to be seen as an extension of Breaking Bad, and I would never tell anyone that they should watch Better Call Saul alone. Like, you have to have watched, in my opinion, you have to have watched Breaking Bad before you watch Better Call Saul.
To get the full experience.
Because if you watch Better Call Saul without Breaking Bad and without having watched that, the show will really feel a lot slower, because you remember there's a lot of scenes where it goes very slow. Like, for instance, the revealing of the Pollos logo.
Yeah.
You have this slow zoom out where eventually you see the sign that says Los Pollos Hermanos. If you hadn't seen Breaking Bad, that wouldn't be a shock to you.
No.
It would just be too slow for you. So in my opinion, you have to have watched Breaking Bad.
Absolutely.
In order to see Better Call Saul. But yeah, I don't know. People may do whatever they want, but thank you Gilligan and Gould for such an epic show that we can discuss, all of us.
And don't forget to sub, yo, to the great channel of the corner. Peace out.
Yep. Peace out. And thank you for staying in this house.
Yeah, no problem, man.
For inviting me down here. That's nice.